I waited 5 minutes after my disloyal wife, Laura, entered her lover's home. Then, I called her and said, "I've located your lover's residence, and you must be there with him. I'm on my way to confront him. Get dressed and leave his apartment before I arrive." I ended the call and stood by his door, holding a sledgehammer in one hand and a black trash bag in the other. I waited 5 minutes after Laura entered her lover's apartment, then calmly called her again, saying, "I found your lover's place, and I know you're inside. I'm coming to confront him, so you better get ready and leave before I get there." After ending the call, I stood by his door with a sledgehammer in one hand and a black trash bag in the other. But here's the thing, I wasn't planning to break in. I intended to let them destroy themselves. Let me explain. The Anderson family was the epitome of success. My wife, Laura, and I had been married for 25 years, raising 3 beautiful daughters, Olivia, Ava, and Mia. Each daughter had married into families of wealth and charm, weaving a network of connections that made the Andersons appear untouchable. Sunday dinners at our grand estate were lavish affairs, with laughter echoing in the dining room and the semblance of harmony firmly in place. Our home was a sprawling Georgian mansion nestled in the heart of the affluent Willowbrook neighborhood. The meticulously maintained gardens, complete with a koi pond and a gazebo, were the pride of our family gatherings. However, recently, I began to feel like a stranger in my own home. Laura had become distant, her once loving gaze now replaced with indifference. Our daughters, who used to confide in me about their dreams and lives, now seemed guarded as if they were hiding secrets. I dismissed my unease, attributing it to my demanding job as a corporate lawyer. The long hours I put in made me believe I was distancing myself from my family, but deep down, I sensed something was terribly wrong. I couldn't have anticipated just how wrong things would become until that fateful night. It started innocently enough, or so I thought. I was working late in my study, a room lined with dark mahogany bookshelves filled with legal texts and family photos, when a notification popped up on my tablet. A motion sensor camera I had installed in the guest house a month ago had detected activity. The guest house was a small, separate building we rarely used, meant for visiting family or friends. It was furnished with comfortable seating, a kitchenette, and a workspace, designed to offer privacy and convenience to our guests. Curious, I opened the app and clicked on the video. What I saw made my blood run cold. There they were, Laura and our 3 daughters, sitting in the guest house's living room, each holding a glass of wine. Their laughter filled the space, casual and carefree as they discussed their lives. The room was elegantly decorated, with tasteful artwork on the walls and soft lighting that created an inviting atmosphere. But as the conversation progressed, their words took a sinister turn. Olivia leaned in, smirking, "So, Mom, are you seeing Jonathan again next week?" Laura laughed, a sound I hadn't heard from her in years. Her voice, once warm and melodic, now carried a sharp edge. "Oh, definitely. Jonathan is the best lover I've had in 25 years of marriage. He's young, enduring, and perfect for a love marathon. Next week, I'll arrange for each of you to have your turn." The daughters erupted in laughter, clinking their glasses. Mia chimed in, "So generous of you, Mom. Sharing is caring, right?" I stared at the screen, unable to process what I was witnessing, my wife and daughters casually discussing their affairs as if they were planning a brunch. It wasn't just Laura, it was all of them. They were cheating on their husbands, laughing about it like it was a game. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was systemic, corroding the very foundation of my family. The guest house, once a symbol of our hospitality and unity, had become the stage for their deceit. I spent the next week in a fog of anger and disbelief, meticulously gathering evidence. It wasn't sufficient to confront them outright, I needed their own words and actions to shatter the illusion they had constructed. I extracted more footage from the guest house camera, uncovering details of their lovers and their intricate schemes. Laura was the mastermind, orchestrating rendezvous and even assisting the daughters in covering their tracks. Each clip was more incriminating than the last. As I watched, my heartbreak transformed into cold, calculated fury. I couldn't let this go unanswered, not for my pride and certainly not for my sons-in-law, who deserved to know the truth. By the time the weekend arrived, my plan was set. Sunday dinner began like any other. The dining room table was adorned with fine china, crystal glasses, and the finest wine from our collection. The centerpiece was a grand floral arrangement, meticulously arranged by our gardener. Laura sat at the head of the table, her smile radiant as she toasted to our family's success. Olivia, Ava, and Mia were seated with their husbands, Ethan, Liam, and Noah, each of them charming and unsuspecting. They laughed, joked, and shared stories, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. The dining room was spacious, with large windows offering a view of the beautifully lit gardens outside. The room was filled with the aroma of a gourmet meal, prepared by our personal chef, and soft classical music played in the background, adding to the elegant ambience. As dessert was served, a decadent chocolate soufflé with raspberry coulis, I stood up, raising my glass for a toast. To family, the cornerstone of trust, loyalty, and love, I began, forcing a smile. Laura echoed, to family. I took a deep breath before continuing, I have something special to share with all of you. Walking over to the TV mounted on the wall, I connected my tablet. The room fell silent as the screen illuminated with the first video. Laura's laughter filled the room, her voice crystal clear. Jonathan is the best lover I've had in 25 years of marriage. He's young, enduring, and perfect for a love marathon. The dining room erupted as Ethan, Liam, and Noah froze, their faces paling as the realization dawned on them. Olivia's fork clattered to her plate, Ava gasped, and Mia's eyes welled with panic. Laura's hand flew to her mouth, her perfect facade crumbling. I paused the video and turned to face them. For years, I believed this family was built on love and trust, but tonight, I want you all to see what's been happening behind closed doors. The silence in the room was deafening. All eyes were on Laura and the daughters, their once confident faces now masks of guilt and panic. The sons-in-law sat frozen, their disbelief turning into anger. Laura was the first to break the silence. Michael, she stammered, her voice trembling. I can explain. I let out a bitter laugh, shaking my head. Explain? You've already explained plenty in these videos. I turned to Ethan, Liam, and Noah, addressing them directly. You married into this family, trusting these women with your lives, your futures, your hearts. You deserve to know the truth about the people you've devoted yourselves to. The men exchanged glances, their faces pale. Ethan clenched his fists, his jaw tightening. Liam leaned forward, staring at Laura and then at Olivia. Noah's expression hardened, his hands gripping the edge of the table. Olivia tried to interject, Dad, this is a private matter. No, I said, cutting her off sharply. It became public the moment you betrayed the people who loved and trusted you. I played the next clip, this time focusing on Ava as she boasted about her affair with a coworker. Liam stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. He pointed a shaking finger at Ava, is this true? Ava's lip quivered. Liam, please, it's not what you think. It's exactly what he thinks, I replied coldly. You've been lying to his face for months. Liam turned to me. When did you find out? Last week, I answered, but this has been going on for much longer. I couldn't let it continue. Each clip exposed more of their lies, their schemes, their complete disregard for the men they had married. Laura, usually composed and confident, now sat speechless, her face pale. She had orchestrated this after all, she had encouraged it. The sons-in-law erupted one by one, demanding answers. Noah shouted at Mia, you let me believe we had a real marriage. Was anything about us ever real? Mia burst into tears. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was just a mistake. Noah snapped, a mistake doesn't last months. A mistake isn't planned. With your own mother? Laura tried to regain control, her voice firm but shaky. Michael, this is a family matter. We'll deal with it privately. I stepped forward, glaring at her privately. You mean like you dealt with your affair? Like you encouraged our daughters to cheat on their husbands? Her lips parted, but no words came out. I picked up a stack of envelopes from the side table and handed one to each of the sons-in-law. These are divorce lawyers I've personally vetted. Each of you deserves better than this. If you choose to end your marriages, I'll cover all your legal fees. The room erupted again, the daughters pleading with their husbands, trying to salvage the wreckage. "Don't do this, Ethan," Olivia begged, tears streaming down her face, "we can fix this." "You destroyed it." Ethan snapped, crumpling the envelope in his hand. "You and your mother, Laura." Finally, Laura stood, her voice filled with desperation. "Michael, stop this madness. You're tearing this family apart." "No, Laura," I said, my voice steady. "You tore it apart. I'm just showing everyone the truth." I turned to the sons-in-law again. "You're not the only ones leaving tonight." I walked over to the head of the table where Laura's wine glass sat untouched. "This house is mine. The car is mine. The accounts, you've been removed from all of them." Laura's eyes widened in shock. "You can't do this." "I can and I did," I replied, my voice icy. "I gave you everything, a life of comfort, respect, love, and you threw it away for someone younger, someone fleeting. Now you'll know what it feels like to lose everything." The sons-in-law left that night, their futures uncertain but free from the lies they had unknowingly lived under. The daughters, now exposed, faced the reality of their choices. As for Laura, she stayed long enough to pack a single suitcase before leaving in silence. She didn't beg, didn't fight, perhaps she finally understood the depth of what she had done. In the weeks that followed, the fallout spread like wildfire. Laura's social circle distanced themselves, unwilling to associate with someone so publicly disgraced. The daughters faced judgment from their friends, their lives now marked by the betrayal they had once so casually discussed. Our estate, once the hub of social gatherings and family unity, became a place of isolation. Friends stopped visiting, and the once vibrant household grew quiet and somber. As for me, I found a strange peace in the aftermath. Betrayal is a harsh teacher, but it taught me the value of truth, of integrity, and of surrounding myself with people who deserved my loyalty. I began to reclaim my life, focusing on my career and slowly rebuilding the trust with friends and acquaintances who had remained steadfast. One evening, as I sat alone in the quiet house, I reflected on what I had learned. The silence of the mansion, once filled with laughter and conversation, now echoed with memories of happier times. I wandered through the halls, touching the polished surfaces and admiring the intricate woodwork that adorned our home. Revenge might feel satisfying, but it doesn't erase the pain. True closure comes from rebuilding, from moving forward without the weight of lies holding you back. I started to make changes, small at first, reorganizing rooms, redecorating spaces to reflect a new beginning. The garden, once a place of family gatherings, became my sanctuary. I spent hours tending to the flowers, finding solace in the simplicity of nurturing life. Months later, I received a letter from Laura. It was an apology, a long, rambling plea for forgiveness. She admitted her regret, not just for being caught, but for losing the life we had built together. The letter was filled with remorse and a desire to make amends, but by then, the damage was irreparable. I read the letter once, then burned it. Some lessons come too late. As I watched the flames consume the pages, I felt a lightness I hadn't known in years. I wasn't just free from betrayal, I was free to rebuild my life on my terms. The ashes of the letter scattered into the air, symbolizing the end of a painful chapter. I began to reconnect with old friends and made an effort to forge new relationships, ones based on honesty and mutual respect. The daughters, too, started their own journeys of self-discovery, seeking therapy and striving to rebuild their lives away from the shadows of their past actions. The path to healing was neither straight nor easy, but it was necessary. I immersed myself in my work, finding fulfillment in helping clients navigate their legal challenges, and took up hobbies that brought me joy, painting, hiking, and even learning to play the piano, something I had abandoned years ago. One autumn afternoon, as the leaves painted the landscape in vibrant hues of red and gold, I hosted a small gathering at the estate. It wasn't the grandiose affair of the past, but a simple dinner with a few close friends. The atmosphere was warm and intimate, filled with genuine conversation and laughter. I realized then that life, despite its twists and turns, had a way of moving forward. The wounds of betrayal had left scars, but they also provided lessons in resilience and the importance of self-worth. Looking back, I understand that revenge might offer a fleeting sense of justice, but it was the pursuit of truth and the willingness to face painful realities that ultimately set me free. The Anderson estate, once a symbol of perfect harmony, had become a testament to the complexities of human relationships and the strength required to overcome them. As I stood by the window, watching the sunset cast a golden glow over the gardens, I felt a profound sense of peace. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, I felt ready to embrace it with an open heart and a clear mind. This story reminds us that betrayal cuts deep, but it also unveils truths that can set us free. If you enjoyed this tale of revenge, justice, and redemption, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tom's Story for more gripping narratives that keep you on the edge of your seat.